Hey guys, welcome to my next video review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 2.
You weak, pathetic fool.
This has been sort of a special intro. In order to get this, you would have to hold down the left and right trigger simultaneously while the game is loading up. But that's basically the main title of the game. I'm just going to quickly start up a single player game. As you can see from the character roster, all of the characters are there, nobody is missing. This time I'm going to be selecting Johnny Cage. As you can see, the sprites are animated pretty good. Graphically, this is I think a fantastic home port for the time, especially on a 16-bit machine. As you can see from the background, we're fighting on the Deadpool stage. Now in this version they have sort of edited a couple of backgrounds. With the Deadpool, if you compare this one to the Genesis or the Mega Drive version, on the Deadpool stage, in those versions you didn't have that many hooks as in the arcade. Now in the SNES version it's quite the opposite. You have even more hooks than the arcade version, which is a bit too much, I think, and I just screwed up the Deadpool fatality, which is a shame. Nevertheless, let's keep on playing. I think the sprites in this one are just about the same size as on the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive versions, meaning that they are slightly smaller than the actual arcade ones, which does change the gameplay a little bit. However, the computer difficulty and the AI in the game is pretty much the same as in the 3.1 version of the arcade, which is pretty cool. Like a bit sloppy there. Okay. But if you would have to compare this to the Mega Drive Genesis version, the SNES is definitely superior to it, mainly to its graphics. The color palette that basically it's using in the game it's exactly or seems like exactly the same as the one on the arcade. I mean, on the Genesis the colors look pretty bad. They have not that good of a quality in the image. And with regards to the sound, the Super Nintendo version takes the cake in that terms as well. It's way better than the SNES. Basically, all of the speech from the arcade, I think, is there, and most of the sound effects are the same. Of course, they are a bit sampled down or toned down in order to, you know, be able to fit on the SNES cartridge, but still, it's awesome.
Round 2, fight.
Back in those days when this was released on the Super Nintendo, it was pretty much a surprise to most of the people, mainly because the first version of Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat 1, on the SNES, just plainly sucked due to the bad conversion and lack of blood and proper fatalities, and also what I think is more important, that the gameplay was completely screwed up. Now in this version, the gameplay is completely spot on. I would say it's almost like a perfect arcade port. Unfortunately, I didn't have this back at the time. It would have been awesome. Now, I've been playing this one on the SNES emulator for quite some time, but lately I decided to get an actual Super Nintendo for myself and get the actual game on it as well. And yeah, I can only recommend it to you guys, if you are into Mortal Kombat, to play it on the actual home console as it was released, or another option of playing it other than on your computer with an emulator, is if you have an Xbox, or Xbox, by Xbox I mean the first version of the 360. You can get the SNES emulator running on that one as well, and then just play MK2 SNES version through that. However, I still prefer the original console one. The Super Nintendo controller for Mortal Kombat 2 is just perfect. You get all of the buttons, and even the layout is pretty easy and proper. On the Genesis, you had to get an additional controller, fighter controller, 6-button controller, in order to be able to properly play this. Anyway, coming back to the SNES version. I think the actual speed of the game is just about the same as on the arcade. Although some say that it's a bit faster, I don't think so. I think it's definitely spot on. And basically, if you look at all of the home ports of Mortal Kombat 2, with the exception of the PS3 version that was made available a couple of years ago, I would say that this is the best home version on consoles, not on the PC, on consoles, available. Even though that they had released Mortal Kombat 2, I mean the arcade emulated version for Xbox and PS2 on the Midway Arcade Treasures, that emulation was just pretty bad, I think. Lots of glitches, and speed was just awful. Just went way too fast, and it took a lot away from the fun and the gameplay of the game. However, the SNES version is, it's pretty much perfect, and it's, I think, the best one within the 16-bit home console ports. It definitely is way better than the Genesis and the Mega Drive version in terms of sound, graphics, and the content that's in the game. I'm not going to be able to show you all the content now, but all of the hidden characters are in the SNES version as well, and all of the bio screens are shown in the game. And if you complete the game, you even get the ending pictures for the fighters, although they are scaled down a bit in order to save memory, but still they are there compared to the Genesis, or even to the 32X version where they're just missing.
Round 2, fight.
So this was pretty much the home version to have back in those days. Another great thing about the SNES version was that if you played Mortal Kombat 2 in a two-player mode, you could sort of enable a team or tag battle mode where you could select up to 4 players, and then it was pretty much sort of an endurance round or endurance type of gameplay. You know, when you lose one of your characters, the other one just jumps in. But still, it was a lot of fun, you know, playing it that way in two-player mode. None of the other ports had that. So it's basically similar to the tournament mode built into the PC version of MK3. Just with 4 characters. As you can see, the Pit 2 stage fatalities, I think, as good as it can be. The timing and all the sounds were perfect on it. Now we are fighting on the portal stage. As you can see here, you got everything in the background, the hovering monks, and the lightning or the thunder going down in the back in the portal. Okay, I'm just gonna deliberately lose this round as well, and then continue on with another character. The only annoying thing I could name with regards to this version is with regards to some of the music. Just because at the end of each round, you know, there is a long sort of beeping noise, which I don't really like. It just basically has the purpose of, you know, having a signal at the end of the round, but just a bit annoying. I wish you could just, you know, turn it off. As you can see, the old combos from the actual arcade work pretty well in this version as well.
Round 2, fight.
I'm gonna be trying to make it up till Shao Kahn and Motaro, because I want to show them to you as well, how they look like on the SNES version. They are pretty much spot on. Gameplay against them is just about the same as on the arcade version.